Good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be given the opportunity to say welcome to Lancaster. As has already been said, my name is Mark Bacon, and I'm Director of Business Partnerships and Enterprise in Science and Technology here at Lancaster. And you'll have obviously met Dan Prince, who is part of our team in Science and Technology, who is particularly responsible for relationships between business community and the university. So yesterday I asked Dan if he would give me a little brief on what was happening this week. Many of my team have been helping in the preparations, and I was just saying it'd be great if I could actually spend most of the week with you as well, but unfortunately I'm not sure the Vice-Chancellor had let me do that this week. He's given me a few things to do after returning from holidays. But hopefully, you only arrived yesterday, I know, but hopefully you're beginning to get a sense of Lancaster. For many of you, it'll be the first time that you've been to our campus in Lancaster, and I hope you get time to have a walk around and see some of the other bits of campus as well. There's Info Lab 21, which is where you're based here, and if you like, this is the icon for the university in terms of relationships, particularly between the information and communication technology sector and the university, and it's something that was made possible with quite a significant investment from government 10 years ago now. And I hope you enjoy the facilities that we've got in this building. I won't profess to be any kind of expert in ICT, cybersecurity, or anything else. I'm a biological scientist by training, but it's interesting in reading the brief from Dan that I can see the commonality in whatever area of work I find myself in, is that what's at the heart of it is people. And when you actually look at any industry, then the success of that industry or not is the people that form that industry. And I think what's really encouraging, seeing a group of young faces staring back to me, is that you are the future of the security industry in its broadest sense, and all of you will be playing an important part both in the UK context and I'm sure also in an international context. And you should feel immensely challenged, if you like, about the significant opportunities which will certainly put themselves in front of you, and part of that is obviously spending time on this challenge here this week. Dan had given me a lot of facts and figures around security and what a big problem it is, and I do understand the seriousness of that. Many of you will have heard yesterday that there was a conference addressed by a Foreign Secretary and Business Secretary to businesses particularly, and you'll be aware that that's where my interest lies, about what an issue security is for the UK economy. And Dan had given me some figures, but actually I think those figures have been updated now. So the press release from government yesterday was estimating something like the cost to UK business is now something like £21 billion a year, which is just a phenomenal amount of money when you consider the kind of deficit reductions that the government are trying to get to at the moment. But at the same time, when you actually talk to businesses, particularly to small businesses, they're not actually particularly aware that they've got an issue. So you've got this massive problem and then a very poor level of awareness. And again, in many areas that we work at in the university, we're tackling extremely significant global challenges. That might be climate change, that might be making sure that people can have a good quality of life in different parts of the world. And cybersecurity is one of those, as is the broader security agenda as well. And you'll be aware that we've established something called Security Lancaster here at Lancaster, which brings together people from a range of disciplines, because again, as people will be aware, you can't solve most problems with one particular tool. You need to bring together a whole range of disciplines, and we brought together computer scientists, social scientists, psychologists, management scientists together into a new research centre. And you'll have seen that that's been recognised by EPSRC and GCHQ in the award of a Centre of Excellence badge for that centre, which we're really excited by, and something which we want to build on. Particularly, we have an opportunity very shortly to bid for a Centre for Doctoral Training with EPSRC in this particular area. bit gloomy. These are all big challenges and scary challenges, but of course for the business community, these kinds of challenges need solutions, and they're the people that are going to provide those solutions. And in the press release from government yesterday, GCHQ were saying things such as that, they're looking to that community to provide the solutions, and they're particularly keen to hear from small and medium-sized firms that could provide them with the technology to deal with threats to the national interest. And clearly that's a major theme of the week for you this week, that there's this strong entrepreneurial theme that runs throughout the week, and that I will actually have some fun involvement with, hopefully at dinner on Friday, where you're going to be carrying out a sort of Dragon's Den type competition where you're bringing forward your new ideas for security solutions, and I really look forward to that. So I hope you have a great week. We've organised the weather for you. It's gradually going to get warmer as the weekend goes on, and we're going to be basking in 23 degrees Celsius apparently by the weekend. I know you will be looked after by Dan, who's put in some absolutely sterling efforts, and also colleagues from the Challenge, who equally have been putting in an enormous amount of work to make sure that your week is a really, really enjoyable, challenging, rewarding and fun one. So welcome to Lancaster, and have a great week.
First of all, I wanted to say a big thank you to the Lancaster team for hosting us and actually putting an enormous amount of work in for these days, and also to our other sponsors who've actually also done a lot of original work and material for you. And then actually just to say a big welcome, and I'll make it chaps and chapesses after Mal's original, only welcome to the guys. So I'll welcome the women too, because they're an important part of this. And it's one of the things in the challenge that we'd like to see more women, because if we don't address it to 50% of the population, well, that's a really bad thing. Anyway, I wanted to say a few words to put in context why I set up the challenge in the first place and where we're going. And I particularly wanted to do that because we're going to be very reliant on you for sort of feedback in this period about where we're going and what we're doing. And I thought it might help just to give you a few sort of background pointers so you understood what we've done so far, and you might then spark with all sorts of fantastic ideas for us as well. So I'm going to look a little bit about our vision and where we're going step by step. The vision is basically that there's going to be enough fish of the right talent in the recruitment pool for cybersecurity people so that any organisation coming along can recruit the people that they want, and it's not the case at the moment at all. So we're working with people from anywhere. It might be that people are straight from school, it might be that they've done a university degree, it may be that they want to transition from another job, and lots of people who are working with us actually in the competitions are just doing it to test their own skills and for fun, and that's fine too. So we hope that we might tempt them across the way if they're good. I think it really, really matters. It's a serious problem. I mean, the fact that 90% of employers were saying to me that they can't recruit to the talent that they need, nearly all of them are growing in the number of jobs that they want in cybersecurity. So here we are with, an unemployed situation in the marketplace as a whole. Here we have a growth sector, some really exciting and interesting jobs, hugely varied, and it's not happening. It's not happening. So why are there all the jobs? I think it starts right back at school, because it's not a school subject and nobody talks about it at school. There isn't anything there. There isn't actually any careers data. If you look on the internet and everything, it's really sparse. Very few. Careers officers don't have it on their horizon, and the entry points into the profession are quite unclear. People don't actually know how to get started. And when I talk to people in the profession, lots of them say they landed their jobs through serendipity rather than a plan. They were doing something else and somebody talked to them about it, and somehow they transitioned across. So is it a sort of temporary blip? Is it all sorted now? Is there a pipeline of people coming along? Actually, there isn't. We still have courses not full, even in really sort of excellent universities that have been working with the businesses in their community to make their courses pertinent. They've still not got all their course places filled. And then I think about it, and I didn't really think about this until I started doing this job. Why would you go to a university if you don't know anything about cybersecurity, you don't know anything about the jobs out the other end? Why would you want to do it? So clearly having that sort of information out there is going to help. And we got this big decline in the number of people in schools taking ICT at GCSE. People tell me it's really, really boring. 50% drop or 57% drop in A-level at IT. Well, you don't necessarily do an IT route to come into cybersecurity, but it's indicative, isn't it? And it's not good news, actually, for people coming through this pipeline into the profession. So I also think we've got a problem with the skilling of teachers, because you couldn't resolve this overnight because we haven't got the teachers in the schools who are equipped to actually teach the subject. So we sat back and we thought, well, what do we do about all of this? Our first year we said, well, okay, we'll run competitions to identify people with talent, and then we'll try and help them into jobs by giving them prizes that will give them a bit more training. So that's what we did. And it's working, because actually the people coming through our competitions are now getting into jobs, and actually a lot of people have had some really nice sort of life-changing experiences out of it, and that's really lovely. But it wasn't enough, actually, and we listened, and you told us that actually 80% of you knew little about university training, very little about educational opportunities, and she also told us that you didn't actually really know what all the different jobs were, that there is this big jobs family, but you didn't really know much about what James Lyon really does every day, or what Jay Abbott does at work. What do I actually get up to? But you also said that you were quite interested in meeting employers and finding out a bit more about all of these things. So in year 2, we not only ran a few more competitions, but we started to try to build a bit more data about careers, and we worked with the professional bodies and with lots of people who are really into all of these things. And we built up data on the website. If you go there now, you can see some little AV clips from people saying, this is what I do, this is why I like it, this is how I got here. Quite simple, but a bit of sort of early data. And we're trying to reach more people with our competitions, so we're trying to get a greater sort of catchment and get to other areas. That's quite complicated, actually. And your ideas, your ideas would be welcome there too. And so now we're here, Cybercamp, very first, proof of concept for us. And we had all these ideas about, well, actually it's all very well, isn't it? You bring people through, you get them in competitions, you talk to them a bit, and you tell them a bit about what's going on in the competitions. But should we be doing something a little bit more fulsome to give sort of information, maybe even a little bit of development, an opportunity for people to grow, and actually, which people? Is it the people who are nearly there in winning the competitions and everything? Is it the people who actually hardly can enter because they haven't really got the knowledge, but they may have the talent, they just haven't had the opportunity to get the knowledge? Should we be going for the younger group? Should we be doing school leavers competitions and things like that? Should we be going for whomever? You can see, we're thinking all over the shoot. So basically, we're so small, we have a bunch of very generous sponsors, but we're always short of cash. So we have to think how we can get the biggest bang for our buck. So where can we make the most difference? We're going to run some school leaver sort of type competitions this year as a pilot. So 16 to 18-year-olds. We'll run the virtual competitions, and Sands Institute is supplying that competition for us. So that will be a start. We could think about cyber camps as regional finals for schools. We could think about cyber camps, especially for people trying to transition from one job to another job. There are a lot of possibilities. So I think this is all about saying that we want your feedback and your ideas. So you've all coming from quite a number of different places. We've got people who are employed, who may or may not want to transition into more traditional cybersecurity jobs. We've got people still at university. We've got people in various sort of stages of their life here. So we're hoping that between you, you will be able to give us a lot of feedback and a lot of thinking about if we should run another cyber camp. You may say, never again. And if we do run another cyber camp, is it the right sort of length? Should we be doing it regionally all over the place? We have this idea about a regional structure. You know, there are a lot of universities that would like to show what they can do in this space. So maybe we should be going to Queen's Belfast, up to Edinburgh, to Royal Holloway in London, etc., and working perhaps with local business as well as some of the national sponsors that we have at the moment to build a community around that region that might run a cyber camp in that region. You can hear it's early thinking, And so it's really very genuine when I'm saying that we're very much at that listening stage. That's sort of all from me. And I just want to actually wish all of you the very best for the next 4 days. I'm only going to be here myself until Friday, but I'm going to be catching up in everything that's happened afterwards. And I really hope that you have a very good experience, lots of fun, and a really good experience. So enjoy. Thank you.
Right. So pretty much Judy and Mark have covered sort of the facts and the figures of why we're here. And I really just want to welcome you from Lancaster University again. One of the things I really would like you guys to take away from these 4 days is for you to think about the future. As I've mentioned before to some of you, we're at a stage now where we're in a rapidly evolving environment. The speed at which technology is changing, the cheapness and the pervasiveness of devices, there's large projects creating smart cities. We're constantly interconnecting systems in ways that were never dreamt of even last year. That creates a breeding ground for risks, threats, but also for new opportunities. Not only are we in a position where we have to defend against those, but we need to be in a place where we can take advantage of those as well. So throughout today, don't just today, tomorrow, and the rest of the days here, don't just think about how you're defending or how you're attacking, and think about where the opportunities lie, not just the threats and the risks. It's the opportunities where we can shape the future of this environment. We can actually make a real impact by thinking about what do we need 5 years down the line, and what do I know now, and where is the situation going. We can use that information, we can think about what we're going to need 5 years down the line, and we can start to make those interventions now. And that's one of the important things about the Cybersecurity Challenge and working in partnership with them, and that's why we feel so passionate about working with them, is because they're creating an intervention now to address a really problematic issue, and that is the human resource issue. But that's not going to be enough to think about, well, where are the business opportunities? Where are the threats coming from as we start to interconnect all these systems more and more? So we need to shape that space, and you are the guys and girls that are going to do that shaping. Okay? So really try and have that in the back of your mind over the next 4 or 5 days. But I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm sure you're dying to get a briefing from KPMG of what you're going to be doing upstairs. So we're going to have a little bit of a short break while we'll get them down, because they're beavering away upstairs trying to get things nice and interesting for you up there. And that's it from me, really. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope you really enjoy the next 4.5 days. 3.5 days. Cheers.
I'd like to introduce Martin Jordan and Danny Rigby from KPMG. They're going to brief you on Game 1, Informed Defence.
Morning everybody, thanks for showing up. You passed the first part of the test. The rest of the test, we have built a network for you to attack and defend. It's a simulated network of 2 nuclear installations of Springfield and Shelbyville, or Spring and Shelbyville. So I'm not homework, by the way. But we will, Danny's going to take you through the order of the day. But just a few, I know you've probably been told that we're guests of the university, just stay away from the network. It will cause us trouble, because we have done our own plumbing on their network. So if you think you are straying slightly off, please raise your hand. We've got 5 of our team around today, 3 more guys upstairs, plus us 2. So I'll introduce you when we go upstairs, but please raise your hand. If you want some help, or if you stray off campus, please let us know. But yeah, I'll hand over. Danny Rigby is one of the senior testers, tech team leader in the team, so he'll be running today's show.
Okay, so you'll start off and you'll be given a network diagram, and you need to go through, validate if this is correct, scan your network, map it out, and then start patching. You'll have about 45 minutes to start patching before we connect the 2 teams together, and then it'll be all out. So you need to patch, lock down your systems, anything you think is going to make your system more secure, firewalls, things like that. So you'll get marks as a team for all this sort of thing. So you're not going to win if you just go all out, one guy, the rest of the team doesn't know what's going on. You won't win that way. So other things to look at are you need to be also monitoring the network. If you detect an intrusion, you'll get a lot of marks for this. So we'll give you some monitoring tools, you can set them up, you can configure them, we'll show you how to use them, so you can have all that going on. For the attacking, you'll get marks for infiltrating, but you also get marks for documenting what you find. If you get some corporate secrets and you put them on our paste bin, you'll get marks for that. If you make a persistent backdoor, so if they detect your infiltration, but you've got a persistent backdoor so you can get back in, you'll get marks for that as well. The important thing is make sure when you're attacking, everything you do goes on the paste bin. Because if you've done something amazing but we don't know about it, then you can't get the marks for it. And finally, when you're attacking, you need to remain undetected. So they're going to be opposite teams are going to be trying to detect you. If you remain undetected, that's great. You'll be through the network and disabling their power station. And the main thing is work together as a team. At different points, CEO might come in, he'll want to question someone in the team, he'll want to know what's going on. Can you tell him what the other guy's doing? Can you tell him where you're at? Is your system secure? What's going on? Why are you being hacked? So it's teamwork all the time, make sure everyone knows what's going on, that sort of thing. But we'll give you more technical detail when we get up there, and we'll be there to help you. There's about 5 of us, so it should be good. So yeah, some forensics challenges if anyone has any forensic skills. There's a bit of reverse engineering in there. I think we've got a couple of web app guys, so some web app tests in there. So should be a test of couple. Maybe there's more keeping quiet. I think that's it for the overview, to be honest.
Are there a minimum set of services that have to be left open?
Definitely, yeah. So you'll be told which of your services have to be maintained. At the same time, you need to be monitoring your nuclear plant and keep it going. I mean, the cooling towers have to be at the right levels. You've got health status and everything up there. So there's a lot of stuff to monitor.